Hey, we're the Cola Guys. I'm David,
I'm George.
and we are back again, our second episode with Dick Dyer Mercedes Volvo. We have a returning guest from previous podcast, Jill Lara. Jill, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Very good.
This episode is brought to you by Dick Dyer Mercedes Benz, the first Mercedes Benz in South Carolina.
So, we are talking electric vehicles with you guys because last weekend you guys did an event up at Soda City with the electrification event that Soda City has. So y'all were there Saturday demoing your cars. So today we thought we would deep dive and talk to you a little bit about more of the product specifically, because George and I have had some great experiences in them, and so hey, we'd love to know more.
Yeah. So, can I say that the event is actually this coming weekend?
Yeah, but we're releasing it after it. So everybody listening, it's
Okay.
gonna be
I was like,
but now they know. Now they know. We
Okay.
recorded this before the event, but we know it went great, so we said it in advance.
Deal. No, it was a great event. It always
There
is.
we go. That's what we needed.
Yeah, it's a great event. They do an amazing job. It's really nice to see all the other brands out there representing the electric world. So it's always fun. We get to meet some new people. We get to meet some returning people. But the biggest thing is the different makes and models of these electric cars. And it's every year it gets better and better, and there's more and more cars there. So I mean, it's always fun. But we always have they're very good to us, and they always give us a really nice display. So we like to take it. We take probably about 4 cars. We'll take 2 Volvos and 2 Mercedes there, because we have on the Volvo lineup we have the XC40, and then we have a C40. They are fully electric.
Nice.
And the great news about that is for 2024, the XC40 and the C40 are getting a new battery range. And we are super excited about that. The new range is going to give you 100 more miles. So we're going to probably, their guess saying that we should get about 325 miles on a charge.
Nice.
That is super, super exciting because they're both great models. And with the extended range battery, I think it's going to do very well. We are getting a new EX30 Volvo, a little bit smaller than the XC40. The same range is what they're speculating right now. And that price tag, though, is going to start at $34,900.
Wow.
Which is really going to do something for people that want to go into the electric world. But some of the electric cars are out of their price range. So this is you're going to get a top safety car with all the latest technology in an electric car, and the price range is going to be great. So I'm excited about that. I'm more excited that we're going to finally the XC40, because right now the current XC40 and the current C40 got about 225. So another 100 miles on that is going to be wonderful. I'm super excited. I currently drive an XC40 electric car, and so I've really gotten to experience the workings of one. I've learned some things about it that I was a little bit surprised, but I'm glad that I've got to experience one to really drive it, and I drive it like a consumer. I take it to Charlotte. I take it to see my son in Charleston. So I get to experience these electrical, scares that people have about it. So, yeah.
I guess you go ahead.
Go ahead, George.
So I guess you're the eyes of Dick Dyer Mercedes when it comes to these new product releases. You were just down in Alabama with Mercedes. Are there any new cars from Mercedes that are going to be coming to market that people should be excited for? Just like the ones you mentioned, and what are the features that you want to mention about these as well?
Yeah, so right now we just got the new GLE 450 hybrid. It is a gas and electric. So people that are afraid to jump into the electric world, they can step 1 foot in because you're going to have the gas and electric. The range on the GLE is for a battery is 50 miles. After that, the gas would kick in on this car. But guys, this is a really good stepping stone for people that are afraid of the electric world. They're afraid of range anxiety. This is a great car for somebody that does a lot of local driving because it can regenerate very fast. But when they want to take a trip, they go into gas. And then when they get to their destination, they can go back into electric. So, I mean, it's a really, really, I'm super excited about this GLE hybrid. I really am. And we're going to get a GLC, another GLC hybrid, I believe, is coming out for us. We already have an S-Class hybrid. So, I mean, the hybrid world's really good for the people that are afraid to jump in with electric. Mercedes is very, very focused on this electric world. They're not backing down on it, which is good, but they're very much advanced. So I think in the next couple years, 2 years, you're going to see a range on a Mercedes be very, very good.
Yeah. So you've also got a new Volvo coming out that's an electric model, right?
I do. The EX30 is coming first. That's going to be the baby SUV.
Okay.
And then we have the EX90, which is the 3-row. That will be coming out. Well, wow. Speculation that it was going to come out next year. We probably won't see it till the very last quarter of 2024. So,
nice.
Yes, you can pre-order both cars now, but I don't see the EX90 coming out until the end of 2024.
Like you had mentioned.
Go ahead, George.
Like you had mentioned, though, you had mentioned a few hybrid cars beforehand. It's the best for people who are around town and they're just comfortable. So what these cars are doing, it's really giving people the opportunity to use the miles. But then can you also touch on how these cars recharge as they're being driven?
Yeah, so it's actually called regenerative braking. So when you hit the gas pedal, you're gonna have to edit this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You will have to edit this because I do my best at it. But how it works is when you hit the gas pedal, it's electric. And then when you hit the brake pedal, it takes the energy and stores it back into the battery.
Okay.
What's really good on this regenerative braking, Mercedes actually has probably the most impressive regenerative braking system on their cars. Volvo has one pedal. So you can use normal gas. I mean, you can use the gas pedal and the brake pedal. On one pedal driving on a Volvo, it's your gas pedal is your brake and your gas, if that makes sense. So what you do, especially when you go down a hill, it regenerates. It takes the power and puts it back into the battery. Mercedes has several different kinds of regenerative braking. So you have normal recuperation, where it's just going to normal recoup that battery power back. You have no recuperation, so it can just, when you just ride on electric, right? Mm-hmm. You have strong recuperation, which when I went to Alabama for training, we took the electric EQE SUV off-road. And we did exactly what we did. There was a G-Wagon in front of us, which was fully gas. And then we had the electric car behind us. And that electric car did everything that G-Wagon did. And we had it in strong recuperation. So the gas pedal is also your brake pedal. And then you have intelligent recuperation on a Mercedes, which you don't have to do any thinking. It will give it power when it needs it. It'll take the power back to the battery when it needs it. You don't have to think about anything. It's seamless. So on a Mercedes, the intelligent recuperation is where everybody wants, because a lot of people are afraid of can you regenerate that battery when you're driving? Yes, you can, but not in every situation. So on a Mercedes, you don't think it just does it for you. So on your normal route. So
Yeah, so let's talk about the inside of these cars because I think one of the things George and I experienced while we were driving these is it kind of frees up the design of the car to, I mean, it's an entertainment experience almost now because there are so many screens and there's, in some of the higher end models, they go literally from driver to passenger across the front of the car. And then you've got the holographic displays up on the windshields. So talk a little bit about how, the electrification of cars in this aspect just brings out a whole other design aspect for the inside of the car and the experience now.
okay, well, the nice thing about a Mercedes, the Mercedes EQ lineup, is it is a car just like what you're used to, but it's electric now. So you don't lose any of the creature comforts that you are used to in a gas powered car. You have it now in an electric car the same way. You have your ambient lighting, you get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You get, it is called a hyper screen. It is a full glass screen that goes the length of the dashboard. And that is an option, not standard on all cars. And what the passenger is able to do is they can sit in the passenger seat and they can operate their own music over there if they want with headphones on, stuff like that. It is coming in the future that you'll be able to do more things with that hyper screen. It's just a matter of some things that have to be worked out with Mercedes and, people, i.e. the government. But eventually passengers will be able to watch movies on that screen. And if a driver looks over towards that screen, the screen automatically is going to shut off. So it is coming. It is probably, I'd love for it to be here now, but it's not. But it is coming. So you do have the full hyper screen. But the nice thing about it, and the storage in an electric car is incredible. Guys, it's the electric cars really are an amazing car. They're hard right now because a lot of people are afraid of the range anxiety. You, as a person that drives one, I will tell you, it gets easier. When I first started driving an electric car, I was nervous. I mean, I'd panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to go up the street. Oh my gosh, what's my battery going to be like? The nice thing about the electric cars, Volvo and Mercedes, the navigation system on these cars, they are so helpful because when you put in your destination, what it's going to do is it's going to tell you, hey, this is where, when you get to your destination, this is what your battery range is going to be. When you get there and you go back to your destination, it's going to tell you how much you're going to have when you return. Along the way, it tells you, okay, there's an electric station at this location. It can tell you if there's availability there, so that if you get there and you're like, oh no, it's full, it'll tell you. On Mercedes, you can even secure a spot. You can sort of reserve your spot at one of the stations. So that's really great too. But the Mercedes, between Mercedes and Volvo, Mercedes has an incredible product with the electric car. And they have their own coolant. This is one big thing that I learned too. One thing about these electric cars, they're not big fans of the heat. They're not big fans of the cold either. So you learn to precondition your car. And what that means is before you go out in the morning to get in your car to go to work, you can set your car to start preconditioned so it can warm the battery if it's cold, or cool the battery if it's hot. You really learn to be a little bit more diligent on what you need to do on situations. And on a Mercedes, it has its own coolant system. So it has its own coolant system for the battery. And it has its separate coolant system for the cabin of the car, which is amazing. So, but don't be afraid. I mean, it's scary because we're so used to just being able to pull into a gas station. But once you get, they're fun to drive, guys. I mean, the power's instant. I mean,
Mhm.
when I get in a gas car now, I'm like, I think I'm going. I think I'm
Waiting
going.
for it. Yeah.
But yeah, with an electric car, you just go, right? You zig and zag. But on a gas car, it's sort of like, okay, I think I'm going. Am I in a golf cart? But it's a car. So, but they're fun.
Yeah. So, as someone who now is fully driving an electric car on a daily basis, what's been your biggest aha? Like,
How fast they are, the power,
yeah,
the smoothness. They're quiet, but the smoothness is just, it's there. There's no lag. It's just instant takeoff. It's it's just seamless. It really is.
yeah. So you guys, the first one we drove from you guys was the EQS 580, and I understand now there's an AMG version of that car.
Oh, yes, there is. If you want a smile on your face, drive the AMG version of the EQE. Has one EQE sedan
Yeah.
AMG, and it has there's an EQS which is larger, AMG. They right now are the two fastest cars Mercedes makes.
Wow.
If you want a smile on your face, you come and drive that car. I love test driving that car with people that like, oh, I'd never drive an electric car. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, great, let's get in the car. And so I remember the first time I took a guy that he's like, I only drive gas, Jill. I'm not driving an electric. I'm like, let's just try. So we take it out on our little test drive, and we have like an on ramp, and there is a sport mode on the electric car, just like on every gas car from Mercedes. I hit that car into sport mode. I'm not kidding you. I think the front end picked up. His head hit the back of the headrest. We started laughing. I can't say what he said, but yeah, it was guys, it's just so much fun. I mean, if you want, now obviously this might have to be a second car because the range isn't really there. I think the range is only like 225 miles on a charge. And you won't get that, I promise you, because you will never drive this car the speed limit, because you can't drive that car the speed limit because it's so much fun. But yes, they do. And they are the fastest two cars Mercedes makes right now. So yes, come and test drive those two cars. So.
Getting over the range anxiety, I think David and I had both had that issue a little bit where it's like, it says it has 40 miles left, but this isn't the same 40 miles I think I have left when it's my gas car, you know?
You
And
are so true.
and we had talked with Hank a little bit. We were like, South Carolina it's gonna take longer for South Carolina to be able to adapt just because how rural it is. And so when you think of South Carolina, you think of Greenville, Columbia, and Charleston. And it's a nice straight line, at least, that helps with where people are going. And so once all three of those cities are truly able to adopt to the electric way with cars, I think it will open it up a little bit. But in your opinion, how much longer do you think until the rest of South Carolina will be able to adopt getting onto the electric car wave?
Honestly, I think it's going to be, we're a while out. That is one of the biggest. If you own an electric car, obviously you want to put a charger in at your home, and you can charge it while you're sleeping at night. That is my biggest struggle that I have driving my electric car, is that the infrastructure is not in place in the South. And I'd love to tell you it's going to happen overnight. It will not happen overnight. We are years away, in all honesty. And I think that's why a hybrid car is a great stepping stone, because it gives you the best of both worlds, is what I tell people. I tell my clients that, some people come in and they're like, oh, we want, we hear electric cars. We want to, and I'm like, okay, let me ask what is your daily commute with a car? Do you have a second car? So these hybrid cars are really a really good stepping stone, because it's going to alleviate a lot of the range anxiety with people, because they know that once that battery runs out, they know that they have that gas and they'll feel comfortable. And then in a couple years, they're going to come back and say, Joe, we're ready for an electric car. Let's do this. And I think then the infrastructure will be there a little bit more in place for these cars. So,
well, George and I can tell you where the one supercharger is in Charleston.
So can Joe.
So
can Joe.
Yeah.
It's been eye-opening. I took my Volvo I took my Volvo to Charlotte one weekend. I was like, I'm going to be a consumer here. I want to see what their situation looks like, right? So I had a full charge when I left my house. I live in Irma, and I took it to Charlotte. And when I got to Charlotte, I was going to have to charge it. And so I went to South Park, and I thought there were going to be chargers all over around that mall because it's a ginormous mall, right? There were 4. And I was like, oh God. The one was a supercharger, and somebody had just backed in to use it. The other one was a slow charger. The other one was in use too, and it was also a slow charger. Then the other spot, a gas car pulled into it. They're probably like, I'll get you. And he pulled his gas car into there. And we were like, okay, buddy, whatever. So anyway, I plug it into the lower kilowatt charger. And I walked around the mall, but the whole time I'm checking my app, I'm like, well, that's not good. It was only increasing like a little bit, right? So Jill started panicking a little bit because I was like, I better go find a supercharger, right? The next superchargers were about 30 minutes out of my way. And I was like, oh God. When I stuck it in my navigation, I knew where I was going. It told me when I get there, I'd have about 7% charge. So I got there and there were 10 superchargers. I got the very last one. There were 9 in use. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. So, I charged, but I knew when I came back to Columbia, I was going to have to charge again to get to work. So yeah, it was an experience. I did it. It's possible. But yes, I do think we're a couple years away with this electric world, but it's coming whether we like it or not. That's why everybody should step into a hybrid first, and then they can gradually get into an electric car. So, or they can just go jump both feet and go into that electric car.
Well, I think George and I will take you up next time you get an AMG version of the sedan. Call us. We want to go take it out for a cruise.
You guys have to. Everybody needs to experience it, because I will tell you, if you're having a bad day, you get in that car. I promise you, your bad day will end, and the smile will just be permanently glued on your face, because that's how much fun that car is. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody come and experience it. Just come and experience the electric cars. If you've never driven one, we want people to drive them. We want people to see what they're like. They are the wave of the future. They're not going away. They are the wave. But come and experience it. People may be pleasantly surprised at how nice they are, how fun they are to drive, and it just may work for them, and they just haven't thought about it. But it may just end up working for them, and they can say, you know what, I can do this. We can do this. This is something that's possible. You just are a little bit, in the beginning, a little bit more due diligent. You do a little bit more due diligent on your driving patterns, right? But yep. I was hesitant at first to drive one. I was asked to drive one. I'm very happy that I have had the opportunity to drive one. Like I said, I mean, at first I was scared, but now I'm just like, it'll happen. It'll work. We'll figure this out. We have to. This isn't going away. So.
No, it's not. So it is the wave of the future. And when you look at the demographics of who's, of the younger generation being more willing to drive an electric car, give it 5 more years, and that 20 something to 35-year old's going to be 25 to 40, and so the interest is going to grow. The infrastructure, as it grows, it's going to make people feel safer about it. So it's nothing. You can see this coming in the future. Plus, I want to give a shout out to Volvo, whose manufacturing facility down outside of Charleston, South Carolina. You have a manufacturing presence here in the state. Volvo is committed, and makes a huge economic impact down in that area. And it's my understanding that new XC90 all electric is going to be manufactured down there, correct?
Yes, the EX90 will be manufactured in Charleston. It sure will. It's that, and they've actually expanded down there. So they have grown that factory down there. They have built a whole nother factory.
Yeah.
So they're very invested. They're also on the forefront of it. Everybody's super excited about the EX90. It's going to be a 3-row car, which is great for families. But yeah, so.
All right. Well, Jill, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We love our partnership with you guys. It's always fun to go over there and check out what you got on the showroom floor. But you're the lady. If anybody needs to come see about an electric vehicle, drop by Dick Dyer Mercedes Volvo, go see Jill, Lara. She'll get you taken care of. And so, hey, we're the Cola guys. I'm David.
I'm George.
And thank you, Jill. We'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a good day. Bye.